Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9. Having some difficulties on the radio side, but we're going to go ahead and kick things off live on Restream. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll bring those guys and gals in when they get things figured out on that side. Thanks so much for being a part of the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. It's a beautiful day, a Wednesday morning. As we kick things off, we'll definitely be looking through uh, the sports happening around the capstone. And of course, that starts with the Alabama baseball team and what they're doing. Cannot say enough about those guys as they take care of business. We'll also keep the conversation going on around the avatar and what's happening, creating the avatar. O-line yesterday kind of led to a little bit of a maybe we need to look at some old timers and see what kind of avatar you are, because I thought there was some interesting uh, conversations that started to happen around the avatar of O line. So we can talk about that. We can move on to the next version of avatars as we keep it rolling right here on the Crimson Tide. On Wednesday, we always do a would you rather. So if you got a would you rather out there, um, you're always welcome um, to bring that to the table. And of course, would you rather probably today may center around Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, but hey, you may have something else that you would you'd rather do. We may throw in a little softball, baseball too as we move throughout the morning. I want to remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. So don't hesitate to be a difference maker. And Alabama is finding a few difference makers in terms of their baseball team, and so we'll get that. But good morning, X. How you doing, sir? X, are you there? Good morning, X. You there? All
Yeah,
right.
I'm here.
Well, we'll figure out what's going on with X.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm sorry, computer froze up for a second.
So, what you got going on, man?
Too much. Hey, as we said, Bama baseball has been on a roll. Got that big 4-0 win last night over Kentucky. Florida today. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the baseball team as they got one victory, and that's where they needed to start. Number 9 seed took down the number 8 seed Kentucky, and Kentucky was the number 2 RPI team in the nation, by the way. And Alabama, as you said, shut down 4-0 under left-handed pitcher Hunter Furtado. He pitched five really strong innings, recording just 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. But Alabama, Andrew Pickney, I think seems to be kind of rising up, both on the field and off the field, getting an academic award earlier this week. But he seems to be kind of the guy that's stepped up and taking the bulls by the horns. And I know we've talked about it, X, but with each passing day, this team seems to be either intentionally or unintentionally, whatever it may be, throwing a lot of shade on their prior head coach in terms of what's happening um, in the world of baseball right now. Because what was it, 6 wins in a row? Um, it's At this point, I guess we could make this kind of a would you rather. Looking at it at this point, um, it's just hard to believe that this guy wasn't betting. Win a couple games and you go, yeah, momentum. But with the way they're playing, how consistent they're playing, it's hard to believe that he wasn't tanking his team. I can't. I'm gonna have to. Actually, your audio is out. So, um, but and listeners, I'll invite you guys in on the conversation. Throw in your comments as well as we work through this. Uh, it is in an amazing thing, and it's hard to believe that this guy is not. Um, that he wasn't tanking. Guys, and as you think about it, would you rather uh, have had this? Uh, you don't ever want anybody to cheat on your team, but if you had to do it over, it looks like this may be exactly what Bama baseball needed as they're poised to take on. Um, Poised to take on uh, um, the Florida Gators, the number one team. Can they put it all together and make a nice run? Um, I don't know, but it's going to be exciting to watch. Uh, and if they fool around and get one more win, I know for a fact the 4-0 win may have been enough to get them to host uh, a game, a regional this upcoming round when it gets started. But definitely a win against Florida does that. And maybe now that they're in the double elimination, they may not necessarily have to beat Florida, have a good showing against Florida, and maybe get another SEC team in the process. And they very well will be off to the races as they, excuse me, as they work through this offseason. But it's just been fun to watch. I don't know if there's been considering all of the bad news that has happened around Alabama sports this year, and even this story resonating out of a bad story. I'm not sure um, that this is not one of the feel good stories for Bama and exactly what Bama needed to get things going. Um, so we'll keep that up in front of you. Also on the baseball front, on the softball front, I was just seeing where Alabama um, softball um, losing someone to the portal. It's an interesting time that one of the players would choose to go into the portal at this particular time. Um, don't know all the story behind it, but Aubrey Barnhart has entered the transfer portal, according to Bama Central's Katie Wyndham. Um, she's Tennessee native, spent 2 seasons at the Capstone, and she started in 28 games, including 13 starts. And you know, don't know what's up with that, but she didn't see a lot of action this time, and so it may just be related to having lost some time, um, lost playing time, and gonna go try to find somewhere else. But you just don't need that type of distraction at this point in the season. But as they prepare to take on Northwestern, the big question is, will Montana Fouts, will Montana Fouts be Montana Fouts? And you know, if she is, you have to start her if she's ready to go. But how do you test that completely, and how far do you go? So this is an interesting time for Alabama. If they could get one more weekend rest out of her, it'd be great. But I don't know if they can afford that or not. So I'm sure if Montana Fouts is is, at 85, 90% and can pitch without further injury, then she will be coming off the mound. But you have to feel good about what Torrance was able to do this past weekend uh, in getting them to this point. Virgil Williams said this is the fourth player from the 2021 class that was supposed to be a stellar class. Not sure why she's leaving. Referring to Barnhart, that is interesting, and it's just you don't ever know what happens when things like that happen. Of why people will into um, jump into the portal. You don't ever know what's the reason behind that, but like I said, four people from that team. CJ Watson said it seems odd to enter the portal the week between regional and super regional. I certainly wish her the best, but kind of a head scratcher there. Um, and Virgil said that she's been on the way. There we go. That she's been away from the team for unspecified reasons. Murphy said she had stepped away from softball for a while earlier in the year. So she might be going through some things personally, uh, as well as academically. So we'll get to that. Hey guys, we're going to take a break right here. I'm going to see if we're able to get reconnected on the other side. If not, give us a couple minutes right here as I work on that. I'll be back on the other side to listen to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Right now, we're live streaming on all our various outlets, and hopefully, we'll be able to add the radio in. Thanks for being a part of the program, guys. We'll be back in just a moment.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things look pretty good on the roadways on this Wednesday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give me a call, 205-886-8886. Others are raising their rates. Townsend Nissan is lowering on selected models 0% up to 60 months at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
when you or your family is in a car accident and injured. I've experienced it firsthand, and I highly recommend Stephen Mesrano, Mesrano Law. Call now, 205-800-8000, 205-800-8000.
Is pain keeping you from living the life you love? The Good Feet Store's arch supports are designed to improve performance and alleviate, even eliminate your foot, knee, hip, or back pain. Stop into your local Good Feet store today for a free personalized fitting and test walk, or make an appointment at goodfeet.com. Try before you buy. You've got nothing to lose. The Good Feet Store, America's arch support exports, improving people's lives 2 feet at a time.
Next up, straight talk from Doug. Ever notice that saying no offense is offensive? Like, no offense, but you're overpaying for your wireless. See? Offensive.
That's the Straight Talk talking. Get unlimited plans as low as $35 a month from Straight Talk on America's most reliable 5G network. Available at Walmart and Walmart.com. On the $35 plan, first 10 gigabytes data at high speed, then 2G speeds. Refer to the latest terms at straighttalk.com. Based on most first place rankings, root metrics, second half 2022 assessments of 125 metros. Experiences vary, not an endorsement.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte combo orders.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A warmer day today with a partly sunny sky. Tuscaloosa's high 81. Mostly fair tonight, the low 59. Tomorrow is sunny day, the high 84. Friday, partially sunny, just a few isolated showers around, the high 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 63 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Back in with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. As you kicked off the morning, you've been with us on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Like, follow, share, and get in on the conversation. We're glad to have you as a part of the conversation this morning as we move things right along. I want to apologize to those of you who tune in on the radio airwaves. We do have things rolling on that side of the aisle. So please make your way into the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. It's live, local, and ready to get things rolling right there. And want to make sure that you know that you can always tune in on the live stream, chat us up, and join the conversation. Part of what we talked about in that first quarter was regarding the baseball team and how well they've done, and whether or not they can keep it rolling, and will they get to be a host next weekend. Next week as baseball moves into its tournament phase on the road to the College World Series. Also at the same time, softball had another person. I'm getting feedback, guys, in my headset. The other side of it is that softball had a transfer going to the portal. Don't know what that's about. And Virgil Williams pointing out that that's the fourth one from that same class. And a couple of those have gone on other places and turned into superstars. So some of the recent transfers have. So hopefully we'll figure it out. It's just a weird time to be doing it right before a regional. Anyway, yesterday we started some conversation around the avatar of O-line, and I thought that was an interesting conversation. With all the other avatars, people would always name qualities. Like I want a 6'5" guy or a dual threat guy. Yesterday turned into we kind of start naming guys who represent uh, a certain trait and put the players' names in, and had the likes of DJ Fluker from a strength standpoint, Dickerson from a attitude standpoint. Also, you had, I think yours, I call him Big Hog Molly, Big Chance. I'm still looking for one of them guys that can roll a shirt up, and had that belly out, still be looking good out there in the uniform. I don't know if we have any of those, but if we have one, Booker is that guy. But anyway, as we were going off the air, C.J. Watson needs to bring his back because he had a list. If you had those types of guys that he listed off, Chris Samuels and Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly was a guy who nobody even expected to go maybe top 3 rounds maybe when he was finishing up. Ends up being a first round. And that year, he was like the first Alabama guy to go in the first round as a center.
He was the only guy.
Huh?
I think he was the only first
He
round.
was, because I think several other guys fell out of the first round that we thought would be first rounders. And of course, he went to the Colts and has been just stellar. So several things, but ironically, other people we were naming, I think we have those guys. We talked about Fluker. We talked about Chance. We talked about Dickerson. We talked about Chris Samuels or Cam Robinson, that type. That's the only question, is that left tackle to me. Because to me, I look at Pritchett more as a Dickerson type, maybe inside being a little meaner and nastier at a guard position. But we have a Kelly. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, and I think when you're looking at the offensive line, the reason why you see more of this player aspect is because you're talking about 5 guys along an offensive line, whereas when you're looking at a quarterback, a running back, or a wide receiver, you can have one guy who does everything that you want in that position. But our offensive line, the defensive line, those are truly units. Those guys have to work together to be successful. And so, yeah, I mean, you look at big JC Latham on that right side, man, just a mauler type, probably going to be one of the first offensive linemen off the board in the 2024 draft with just his nastiness and physical strength.
Let me ask you a question on JC, kind of break it down before we get too far off of one guy versus another. Do you think we can see, or will see, because that's what we've been waiting on? This guy came in, and I mean, he looks the part, and you can see some of that nasty in him. He's the guy that you get. I'm going to tell you, Alabama fans, he is going to get a personal foul, a couple personal fouls, late hits, or something at some point this season. I just hope it's not at a critical moment. But do you see him giving us one of those DJ Fluker moments? Because to this day, one of my all-time favorite moments of watching Alabama football as a fan, is the DJ Fluker moment against Georgia in the SEC championship game. And I don't know what we were doing, but we weren't doing what he wanted to do. And we ran the ball a couple times, and then I think we called a pass or something. You see him stand up and look to the sideline, show them his full jersey X, and he goes, run, and I can't say what he said. Run the ball, with some extra words or letters in between some of that, what I just said. And we took the ball and ran it down their throat, went on to seal that game and win that game. do you think we can see a moment like that or some moments like that from, J.C. Latham?
With Tommy Reese calling plays, I definitely think we can see that happening this year, especially with him and Booker, man. Just the two of those guys, it's so reminiscent of Chance and DJ playing right next to each other. You just see that nastiness, man, and I think we have that back. I mean, I think when you look at this offensive line, you can see Barrett Jones and Seth McLaughlin. You can see Chance Warmack in Tyler Booker. You can see DJ Fluker in JC Latham, and that's considered the great. They're considered part of the greatest offensive line in Alabama history, or at least one of the greatest in Alabama history, with just their cerebralness, their nastiness, their toughness. And I think we're going to get back to that type of Alabama football this year with the running back room that we have, with the quarterback situation that we have. You're going to see these guys be absolutely devastating at points in games. With Wolford as this O-line coach, you know what he wants. He wants to be mean. He wants to be physical. And I think this year's going to be a lot of fun and a little throwback for Alabama this year.
All right, but I'm gonna circle back on a couple of comments you made, but we got Alan, who's been patiently waiting. Alan, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah, I just want to circle back on something y'all talked about yesterday about Bediako.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
Do you think that some of these players, I don't know this for a fact, I'm just throwing it out there. Some of these players just don't want to go to class no more? I mean, I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because,
hey, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Alan. Let me ask you this before you say that. If I told you that you could, I have a trucking job that you're gonna be qualified for. Okay, but I need you to drive a truck every day. Practice driving that truck. Keep driving that truck. And while you're doing that, I need you to go back to class and spend 3, 4, 5 days a week in studying something that has nothing to do with driving the truck. and when you off driving the truck, that's studying and class, you still have to do that, even though it has nothing to do with learn how to drive the truck. And then I present to you, hey, you could leave and just go practice driving a truck and get paid before you become a bona fide professional. Which one you taking?
Well, I
mean, that's what G League is.
I'm driving the truck. But the thing about it though, you still got there's still stuff that you got to learn while you out there, and it's still stuff that you never stop learning. Why I say that?
The class. But here's the thing, Alan. The class isn't the study in school isn't teaching them anything about the profession they're trying to go into. And that's why, it's almost one of those things of you need to either make students go to college. You almost need to have a 3-year rule or no rule, because the reality of the G League is, and I'm gonna tell you what's gonna make a big difference. If more G League guys go in this first round, it's gonna hurt college basketball. If the G League doesn't produce a lot of pros and first rounders, then it's not as big a deal. But if all of a sudden guys can go to the G League versus going to college, or come out at the college after 1 year and go to G League and still end up getting drafted in those 2 rounds, it's going to hurt college basketball.
I agree. I totally agree. Because I know for a fact. At classes, I played 2 years in community college, junior college, And I was, I hated getting up, going to class. But you got a father like my father was. Hey, you was a student athlete first. You was a student first, or
Absolutely.
you be working where he was working at. That's just the bottom line. Cause my first semester, I hate to say it, the only thing I passed was I learned how to play cards, rook, spades, domino. That's the only thing I passed. And that summer, my father had me working with him where he worked at, and that taught me, I don't want to do that. But I went to class I went to class that next quarter. At that time we had quarters.
Uh-huh.
I went to class those next quarters, and I graduated. But I used to come down to the rec all the time, playing against guys that you played with, Craig Sanderson. I know you remember him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
About the gym. Yeah, I mean, I still talk to Craig. Played with Antonio Langham against him in high school when all them boys played up at Hazelwood.
Now,
I'm going way back on you, but
where did you go to high school at?
Fayette County.
That's what I thought. You were from Fayette, so that's what I thought. So,
Mike Davis.
do it now.
So the home of Mike Davis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. X, you got any comments before we get to break here?
No, I mean, I think y'all laid it out pretty well. I mean, something's going to have to give with this one and done basketball rule. You're either going to have to extend it or do away with it. I mean, granted, as an Alabama fan, I'm glad we had it. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have had Brandon Miller. But it doesn't do much for a lot of these guys. They're going to class for a semester for what? Because if I'm not mistaken, once you're eligible after that first semester, you don't have to go to class that second semester. You can just coast through and really only focus on basketball at that point, which is what I've heard a lot of guys do, especially if they know they're one and done.
Especially the one and done guys. And it'll be interesting to see. And sometimes guys go ahead and leave because they don't do what they're supposed to do, Alan and X, in that semester. In other words, Bediako may have I don't see this in his character, but he may have already checked out. He may not he may have to come back to school to get eligible. Who knows? You don't ever know what goes into these factors. But thanks for that insight, Alan. Absolutely. I think guys make decisions sometimes to go to the next level because of the academic side of being a college basketball player, because you're doing everything basketball related that the pros do. You just don't do it full time. Same thing with football. I mean, football having a 3-year rule before you can be drafted. It's not the college side, it's the NBA. But having that 3-year rule has kept a lot of guys and probably saved a lot of careers and lives, legacies, by making those guys stay longer. It's probably helped a lot more than it's hurt. It's been a couple guys that may have gotten hurt by having to come back, but for the most part, not so in football. Hey, come back on the other side. We will circle back around to that offensive line conversation. X, I want to circle back to you. McLaughlin, Booker, Latham. You made a comparison to 3 guys. Does Alabama have that much grit in those 3 guys that Alabama got out of the 3 guys that you compared them to? We'll talk about it. Invite you to get in on it, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, or post your thoughts and comments on the live stream under @MartinHouston35 on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things look pretty good on the roadways on this Wednesday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give me a call, 205-886-8886. Others are raising their rates. Townsend Nissan is lowering theirs on selected models. 0% up to 60 months at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, For a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
The Alpha Tau chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated will honor Dr. Charles R. Drew by hosting a sickle cell awareness blood drive at the McDonald's East Community Center in Tuscaloosa on Friday, June 2nd from 1 to 5. Be sure to make an appointment and get more details by logging on to redcrossblood.org/give. The Alpha Tau chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated will honor Dr. Charles R. Drew by hosting a sickle cell awareness blood drive at the McDonald's East Community Center in Tuscaloosa on Friday, June 2nd from 1 to 5. Be sure to make an appointment and get more details by logging on to redcrossblood.org/give.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means, wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Isn't it nice to get exactly what you want? Introducing the new My Plan from Verizon. Control what goes into your phone plan and what stays out of it. And now, get the amazing iPhone 14 Pro on us when you switch with Select Trade-in and Unlimited Plus. Get iPhone 14 Pro with My Plan at your Verizon store today. It's your Verizon. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line required. $200 Verizon e-gift card sent within 8 weeks with port date. Less up to $800 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions and additional terms apply.
Dead battery, flat tire, out of gas, have an accident? When your auto won't go and you need a tow, call a pro. Jeff's Towing, 75 Skyland Boulevard, 205-361-3997. 205-361-3997.
You know what happens in a plasma chamber?
Big stuff. Science stuff.
Diamonds. I'm Tom Osmond. Fincher & Osmond Jewelers carries artisan-created diamonds.
Earth and human safe.
And bigger. Lots bigger.
Fincher & Osmond diamonds from the mines or artisan-created diamonds.
They're all diamonds.
If you want to give her the big stuff, you've got to see these diamonds.
FincherandOsmond.com. A little tricky to find on McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Alabama One. Alabama One is more than a financial institution. Of course, we can help you with all your loans and great deposit products and investments, insurance, full service agency. But we're more than a financial institution, and that is because of the great things we do in our Alabama One Aspire Foundation. And to help us fund all of those activities that takes us into the schools, the communities, our churches, our nonprofits, we need you to get a team. Find you a foursome. It's a fun time. Find you 3 buddies and join our One Community Golf Tournament. That's going to be on June 21st at Old Colony. It's a great time that we'll have out there, and we'd love for you to come out and be a part. Go to alabamaonefoundation.org. That's alabamaonefoundation.org and figure out exactly whether you want to get a team, or, hey, you may say, I don't want to be a team, but I want to sponsor some of the great work you do in the community. You can do that there as well. That's Alabama One Aspire Foundation, a part of Alabama One. And Alabama One together. What's your one? All right, X. We had some great conversation going on around the big offensive lineman, and C.J. Watson says the Avatar conversation has been a fun conversation. It makes me think back to your All Saban Team series a few summers ago, and we did that. We're going to do an all-time team. I'm planning to do an all-time team this summer, just working through the logistics of that. But with Samuels and Hannah brought up, I wonder what an all-time Bama O-line would look like. Who would we pick as the best 5 or a first and second team? So I want you guys to go ahead and begin to prepare. Go ahead and begin to prepare. I need you to follow at Martin Houston 35 at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter, because that's where we can put the names out there. At Martin Houston 35 on Twitter, we can put the names out there, and you can kind of weed them down, who they are. We'll put different guys out there to compete. And so if you have anybody you want to nominate, you need to go ahead and do that now. Start sending me those names of who would be in your top 5 offensive linemen. We may end up not necessarily having every position covered, because I'd hate to have somebody that would be like 20th overall and they'd be in the top 5. So we'll work through all that. We may just do the best 5 linemen. We may do by position. Who knows? We'll figure it all out. But follow at Martin Houston, the number 3, the number 5. All right, we got a couple calls we want to get to before we get to Scotty Hollins. So, John from South Carolina, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. Take it away, sir.
Hey, Martin, man, long time listener. Love your show. Always great to talk to a national champion, my brother.
Thank you, sir.
So, and roll tide to you. So, talking about the top offensive lineman, man, that's like trying to pick the top running backs of the Saban era, like Eddie, Mark, Derek, Trent. Like, I mean, what you gonna do? I mean, it's shoot, man. God bless you on that. So, man, so thinking about conversations with offensive line, I really liked what I saw from A-Day as far as, our defense. I thought we played well. Defensively. I liked our tackling, and I thought we were a little bit more disciplined, and I thought the defense just had a little bit of that oomph back that Kevin Steele brings to us. And, talking about the offensive line, like, can you imagine running a counter and you got Seth or Booker, coming in your direction, and you're a defensive lineman or a linebacker or a defensive back or whatever, and then you got Justice Haynes behind him? Man, come on, man. That's gonna be nasty on that side. I wouldn't want to be in their way. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'll let you comment first, because there's one image that makes me, like I said, we've made some comparison with these guys, but Booker leading on a counter, that'd be a fun sight to see.
Oh, without a doubt. And, that's another reason why, I love these guys, like him and Seth, as you mentioned, because Seth is very good at pulling from the center position as well. So you're talking about a lot of things that you can do with this offensive line that we haven't seen the last couple of years fully. And like I mentioned earlier, just the nastiness that is being brought back to the offensive line, mixed with a new play caller that's more committed to a pure run game and not as so much an RPO run game, which I still think needs to be a portion of the offense, but not the main focus of the run game.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember if it was it Chance that did this, or was it Deontay Brown? I can't remember which one it was, but they pulled, and there was like this little DB that was coming across the line, and it was just one of these one-handed, just hit him in the chest. First thing hit was the back of their head. And I'm remembering it, visualizing it, but I cannot see which guy it was. We haven't seen that in a while, where an Alabama offensive lineman, and we saw Booker start them showing him out pulling. I'm going to tell you what John, I'm going to tell you what I want to see. And then I'll let you respond and let you go. But, John, I want to see a toss sweep with Oots out to go get the corner and Booker looping around to get the linebacker. Instead of going straight up to the linebacker, looping around. And when that linebacker shows from around that corner, thinks he's scraping and gonna be free. And all of a sudden he sees 52 right in his grill. And then Oots lays out the support, and off goes, just pick a running back. So any thoughts on that, John?
Oh man, I'm telling you, just getting excited thinking about it. But I really wish, and I understand why we did what we did with Bryce last year, because you had a once in a lifetime quarterback.
Yeah.
But I do think that I just think we leaned on him too much, because you saw the A&M game whenever we didn't have him. Our offense looked feeble at best, and call it what it is. He saved our rear end against Texas and a bunch of other games this season. I understand why we did what we did, but I just think we just got to be too predictable. I think the secondaries were like, yep, we know what he's going to do. We're just going to sit back and make him find holes. And I think we lost that. I think we lost that surprise factor of, hey, let's run it down somebody's throat. I mean, shoot, we saw many 3rd and short, times last year where in the past Saban would have ran it down somebody's throat and we had to pass it. Or when we got into that situation, we couldn't do what we've been known to do.
Correct.
And make a half a yard, make a yard. And you got to do that in SEC play to be successful. And I'm really excited about us just having more balance, for a thing. Whenever, it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and a half, 4th and 1, whatever. They know we're running. We know we're running. Good luck stopping it. Let's see who mans up at the line of scrimmage. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to seeing, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, John. That's the beauty. Make them put 7 or 8 in the box and then defend Bryce's pass. Thanks, sir. Have a good one. All right, Pat, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. Ain't got long for you, Pat, but I want to definitely get you in. What's
I understand. I know Scotty's coming. But real quick, I got to go with Dwight Stevenson for your center. You cannot not go with Dwight. Bama was great, but what he did in the pros, good Lord.
Could you imagine, Pat, Dwight Stevenson playing in today's game?
He would have still been a bad man.
That's my point. His athleticism and strength and power. I mean, he was, he was special.
I went on a cruise with Dwight, and we talked for. We was on the bus for just a few of us, and we talked for a long, long time. And hey, it was impressive. And hey, with the offensive line he had at Miami, you wonder why they were so good.
Yeah,
bless their heart. But anyway, Bediako staying in the draft, bad mistake, Morgan. That he needed to put on another 30 pounds would have made him $4 or $5 more billion this year alone.
And I'm not going to disagree with you, Pat, and we'll talk more about that. But I'm not going to disagree with you that Bediako wouldn't be better served. But he may be thinking he's going to do that in the G League and get paid to do that. So don't know what the overall thought process is for him, or what the NBA is thinking, in terms of what he's hearing. So I do like the way the NBA lets them do it. He's not doing this based off of what a high school coach or a friend or family. He has been in front of NBA scouts and teams, and maybe he's gotten enough information that he can do this with confidence. We'll talk more about that, Pat, on tomorrow. Thanks, sir. Coming back on the other side, we'll have Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, presented by Harvest Church, right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things look pretty good on the roadways on this Wednesday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give me a call, 205-886-8886. Others are raising their rates. Townsend Nissan is lowering theirs on selected models. 0% up to 60 months at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. Alabama defensive back Tony Mitchell appears in a Florida courtroom today. He'll plead no contest to felony possession of marijuana charges in a Holmes County court. According to Florida media, he will not see any jail time as a result of the court appearance. He was arrested in March, and a passenger in his car allegedly had a firearm in his possession. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Ready to join the Camus Boat family at Boatworks? There is no better time than now. Now until Memorial Day, get a $5,000 Boatworks rebate, a $1,000 Boatworks gift card, and free oil changes for a year from Boatworks Service on all 2023 Camus Bass boats powered by Mercury. See all the Camus boats powered by Mercury online at boat-wrx.com or stop by Boatworks, located in the old L&L Marine location on Highway 82 West in Northport. Don't miss this opportunity to get into a new 2023 Camus.
The world is always on, but you shouldn't be. Put junk sleep to bed.
During Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale, get a king for the price of a queen and save up to $700 on Sealy. Shop now at Mattress Firm. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you, aggressively pursuing
victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
It's time to get outside and play some golf. The Alabama One Aspire Foundation is hosting the second annual One Community Golf Tournament June 21st from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Old Colony Golf Complex. The proceeds from this tournament will be used to further financial education in West Alabama schools, as well as advocate for more affordable housing in our communities. There will be lunch provided, as well as a chance to win a hole-in-one cash prize of $25,000. Visit AlabamaOneAspireFoundation.org/golf to register. The One Community Golf Tournament, June 21st. Register today.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We're going to kick it over to Scotty Hollins immediately to give us our Christian moment of the week, powered by Harvest Church, loving God, loving people. Good morning, Scotty. Encourage us on how we can incorporate our faith into the boardroom, the classroom, or our chosen field of play.
All right, Martin. Hey, we are starting a new series, and we actually kind of gave a short intro last week. We'll give the conclusion of the intro this week in our brief time, and then next week we'll get that series started. The series will be called Summer Through the Psalms. So we're gonna go through the Psalms this summer, and I'm really excited because what we will do for the most part is we will look at the Psalms of David. I don't know if I'm sure you probably remember this, Martin, but one of my favorite quotes that I've heard is the most important. This is an A.W. Tozer quote. It's the most important thing about you is what you believe about God, because that becomes the lens through which you see all of life. And so as you think about the Psalms and the Psalms that David wrote, what encourages me is that David, listen to me, David is a real person. And he's a pretty good athlete, Martin, don't you think?
Yeah.
He's a pretty good athlete. You think about those soldiers on the field who were afraid to even challenge Goliath. And then, of course, he had a little prowess and a little athleticism and a lot of the Lord, you know what I mean, and a lot of faith. And he was able to take him down. Here's the point. A real man, right, but with real problems, right, with real anxieties, with real difficulties. And he writes the Psalms that the ones that he writes them as if no one else is going to ever read them. You know, like sometimes if you write something, you know somebody's gonna read it, you be like, okay, I'm gonna act like I wasn't that scared. I'm gonna act like I wasn't that afraid.
That's right.
But he writes these things as if no one else is gonna ever read them, and we get a chance to see him bare his heart. Here's the point, though: he's a real person with real problems, but he's writing about his real trust in his real God. And what I want to do is walk through the Psalms, and we'll just pick out a few. And of course, he wrote 75 or more, really, of the Psalms, of the 150 Psalms. He's credited for 75, but it's kind of debated that he might have written even more. Here's the point, though.
we get a chance this summer to walk through the life of an athlete. So we're going to put it that way. The life of a man who had a real problem, but who trusted his real God, and his God gave him real strength to persevere. So I look forward to walking through the Psalms this summer.
Yeah, it's Scotty. That's so good, because I've been on this kick where I've been saying it just about every message. You can't behave above what you believe. That's
so true.
And you think about what you said about him. His belief was so strong that it allowed him to face a giant, but also humble himself to a point that he would show all his weaknesses. So, because he believed that God was ultimately there. Tell them where they can find you, sir.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, go to the Tuscaloosa City Schools Facebook page. Look for the podcast I'm doing with our student athletes in the Tuscaloosa City Schools. Please like that. Please share that. Please engage that. Celebrate these student athletes who are champions of character.
Yeah, and absolutely love highlighting those young guys and gals that are doing great things in the sports world. Hey, that's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. He joins us every Wednesday. He's going to be doing Summer Through the Psalm with a highlight on King David amongst that. So make sure you make this one of your check-ins each and every week. Thanks, Scotty. We'll catch up with you next week. Remember this: trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. Always acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Appreciate you being a part of the show. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters out there. Roll Tide out there, everybody. Catch you on tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.